Security for your Joomla site starts with two main things. Number one is the hosting that you choose. Now, I'm not going to recommend any particular hosts in this video series, but we do have a page at OS Training, ostraining.com/hosting-Joomla, that will help you choose a good web host. Some of the things you want to look for, of course, are good support, the ability to set your own PHP version, the ability to use SFTP instead of plain FTP. And that's especially true if you tend to work on your site in public spaces. You'll want to make sure your host is up to snuff. Secondly, make sure your own computer is virus-free. For those who use a Mac, this is not as much of a deal, but if you use Windows, make sure your antivirus is up to date and the computer that you're using, especially in the administration area, is clean of viruses. If you have a virus on your computer and you use FTP, it's possible that someone could steal your username and password. So with those things in mind, make sure you take care of those first off. One of the areas you'll see this issue of good hosting straight away is when you go to install Joomla. Whether you use a one-click install or a manual install, you'll want to know that Joomla is happy with the web host, and I'm going to show you how to make sure of that in just a moment. This is the Joomla 3 installation screen. I'm going to create a new site here called Joomla Security, put in my email address, and this is the first thing you want to think about when it comes to Joomla security. The admin username is the username for the super administrator account. Using admin here is never a good idea. If you're going to be using this account to post articles to your site and you want to use your first name, that's okay, but again, probably not the best idea. It's good to have a super administrator account that is very, very secure, that isn't used to update your site so that you can keep a more simple username like your first name. For the super administrator account here, I'm going to use a combination of my first name and the company I work for, OS Training, and call it Rod OST. That's far less likely to be guessed by anybody, although it's still pretty short. The admin password here is probably the most critical thing, and I'm using Safari logged into my iCloud keychain, and so Safari offers a very, very strong password. One thing to realize about passwords, a 6-character lowercase all-letter password can be cracked in about 10 minutes by a computer that's designed to do that. In comparison, a 9-character upper and lowercase letter, including special symbols and a number, would take 44,000 years. So the password you're seeing on the screen is unbelievably secure. You can use it. If you have something like this built in, there are many password generator type websites out there, as well as something like LastPass that can be installed in all of your browsers. So I'm going to use this password, and it will be automatically entered into my Safari iCloud keychain. I probably should write that down though, just in case. Click Next. The next thing you want to make sure is you have a secure username, password, and database name for your Joomla website. This is usually set up in the cPanel if you're installing it manually. If you're installing it with a one-click install, your web host will take care of this for you. I'm on a local host here, so my username and password are unbelievably simple because this is the place that I create all of my training. So don't do this, but you should have a secure username like Joomla 3 admin 2 or something along those lines that you can set up at your cPanel. Same thing with the password, and if I clicked on this little link, it would show me a generated password from LastPass that I could use that would be stored there as well. Similarly, the database name can be as complex as you want. I'm using a fairly simple one here today, again, because this is my local host environment. One thing that is important is the table prefix. Old versions of Joomla used to use JOS underscore as the prefix for all of its tables. Now this is randomly generated, and you can change it if you need to. When I click Next and I come to the finalization screen, of course I can install my sample data, but that's not what's important at this point. What's absolutely critical is this screen at the bottom. If anything is in red here, stop, talk to your web host, and get it fixed. This is not something you should monkey around with, especially PHP version, magic quotes, register globals, safe mode, and magic quote. All of these are really important for the security of your website. So again, if any of these are in red, stop and talk to your web host. Don't install Joomla hoping to fix it later. Make sure your web host updates it first, and then come back and install Joomla. Once you're done, click Install, and you're ready to go. You'll always remove the installation folder, of course, and we can go to our site. Those are some of the things you'll need to make sure that you get right in the installation of Joomla. It's the first step in making your site secure.